Hello, welcome back. I'm B9 Scrambler, and this is the KZ Castor. So the Castor is a dual dynamic earphone tuned to closely follow the Harman target. That said, the sample I purchased on AliExpress for around $20 Canadian features quad tuning switches, which can skew the tune slightly. In the box you get the earphones, a somewhat old-school dual-strand cable with QDC 2-pin connectors, this little tool for adjusting the tuning switches, a set of pre-installed medium-sized foam ear tips, and KZ's standard catbutt or starline tips named by the community, and they come in small, medium, and large sizes. In terms of specifications, things vary somewhat. Impedance is between 31 and 35 ohms, while sensitivity is 105 decibels plus or minus 3 decibels. Thanks to the moderate sensitivity level, it doesn't take a ton of power to bring the Castor up to volume. This is, a good thing, given the target audience for this product is the budget-minded. They're probably not going to be rolling with an amplifier. Sound quality of the Castor is overall pretty solid. Other Harman-tuned earphones I've used have been a bit warmer, bassier, and thicker sounding than I prefer, such as the classic KB Ear Diamond, which is a beautiful little earphone. So, while the two aren't entirely dissimilar, the Castor is in fact brighter, leaner, and less bassy, and as such is more to my personal tastes. That said, I'm glad they released a bass-enhanced version, which I think will be the preference among the community. Treble is well extended with just enough emphasis in the brilliance region to give the Castor some air between sounds and a nice, subtle sprinkle of sparkle. Although it can sound moderately dry at times, a feeling which extends to the overall presentation and can make the Castor sound grainy on some tracks. Emphasis in the presence region is thankfully restrained. While this means the Castor isn't the be-all end-all in terms of overall clarity and transparency, I don't find it lacking either. Overall pretty solid here. Dropping into the mids, the Castor sees a moderate rise from lower to upper. Tune here avoids making the overall sound tinny or unnatural, nor does it incite fatigue on vocal-centric tracks. That said, naturally hot tracks retain their fatiguing qualities. The Castor is not going to fix or smooth things out, which could be a plus or minus, depending on your preferences. Bass on the Castor is boosted over neutral, but not quite to the extent I was expecting. Sub-bass last extension with what feels like a fairly quick roll-off and keeps the Castor from providing an overly visceral bass experience. You get some rumble on deep notes, but it's kinda wimpy. Further up, the frequency range is tuned well to prevent the Castor from sounding muddy or boomy. There is no bleed into the mids that I can detect. That said, touch more warmth would be nice, which I suspect we get from the bass-enhanced version. On the plus side, these drivers are pretty nimble, texturing is solid, and it can take quite a bit of volume before you run into any significant distortion. Now, keep that last one in mind as I typically listen quite low, so loud to me may not be loud to you. The soundstage of the Castor is not particularly wide or deep. Sounds feel like they're coming from just outside your ear, with effects trailing, just a little ways off into the distance. That said, it's not quite what I'd call intimate, and definitely not claustrophobic sounding. Space between notes is present and keeps the Castor from sounding congested, but again, nothing too notable. As you can imagine, imaging is also just fine. Channel-to-channel movement is smooth enough, but can be a little vague. Overall, not my pick for gaming. According to studies at the Boston University, humans can detect volume changes as small as 1 decibel. That said, such a small change is not something your average untrained listener is likely to notice. The tuning switches on the Castor make adjustments between 1 to 2 decibels at most, as noted by KZ themselves, and confirmed by various independent measurements found around the web. As such, I don't think it will make sense for most users to spend the extra couple bucks on the tunable version of this earphone. I did. For me, I like using the Castor with both switches 1 and 2 in the on position, as shown here, and this increases low-end presence by around 2 decibels. It's enough to give the Castor a bit more warmth and punch over the stock tuning. Turning the first 3 or all 4 switches on makes the Castor sound more harsh, so I avoid touching those last 2 switches. When it comes to build quality, the Castor is typical KZ, that's to say, pretty excellent for the price. Plastics feel reasonably dense, and fit and finish is top-notch. There is no excess glue anywhere or ill-fitting parts. Now, I know some find the QDC connectors fragile. Myself personally, I have yet to have any of them fail. Yeah, so overall my experiences with them have been quite positive. Comfort, also a plus. Shells are ergonomic and light, and they fit naturally into the outer ear. As you can see, they are quite thick though. Let's see here. As compared to the Diamond, almost a third as thick. So keep that in mind if you're one to, lie on your side with your earphones in. Yeah, these might be a little bit uncomfortable. Overall, I found the Castor to be another solid release from the brand. It's nicely built, it's comfortable, and for the most part, well tuned. Better sub-bass extension and a smoother, more refined presentation will be nice, but for around $20 Canadian, I honestly can't complain too much, and, it'll be cheaper if you avoid those tuning switches, which I probably recommend. They also have the bass enhanced version, which looks like it might address my qualms with the low end, though I'm still in debate as to whether or not I want to buy one to find out. But yeah, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this brief look at the Castor. Make sure you sound off in the comments if you've heard this earphone, and let me know what you think of it. Later.